Alright, class. So, for today, we are going to be reading a story about someone who saved up a lot of money for something really important to them, okay? And they used a really big jar to save up this money. But we're going to do a little activity to start out, but we only have a little jar, okay? So, I'm going to have each one of you guys stand up quietly. Awesome. And then can I have each one of you come up and take just a few coins and put them in the jar? Okay. And then I would have the kids come and put some coins in the jar, and we would see how long it takes to fill up just a small jar of coins. And then eventually oh, all right, now can't fit one more single coin in that jar, not even one. That looks pretty full, but that took a long time to fill up this tiny little jar. How many of you guys thought it would take that long to fill up this jar? Yeah, I didn't either. Crazy. All right, we're gonna leave this here. Now, who's ready to hear a story about people who filled up an even bigger jar? They worked pretty hard for it, okay? All right, this story is called A Chair for My Mother, all right? Now, before we start, we have two words that I think you guys might know, some of you might know, but we're gonna go over them, okay? The first one is velvet. Who can explain to me what they think velvet might mean? Awesome. The velvet means just a soft, smooth fabric, okay? Now the next word is spoiled. And spoiled, actually, it's on this page right here. Spoiled means really badly ruined, okay? So it's really destroyed. All right, now let's get into our story. A Chair for My Mother. My mother works as a waitress in the Blue Tile Diner. After school, sometimes I go to meet her there. Then her boss, Josephine, gives me a job too. I wash the salts and peppers and fill the ketchups. One time I peeled all the onions for the onion soup. When I finish, Josephine says, "Good work, honey," and pays me. And every time I put half of my money into the jar. It takes a long time to fill up a jar this big. Every day when my mother comes home from work, I take down the jar. My mom empties all her change from tips out of her purse for me to count. Then we push all of the coins into the jar. It's a pretty big jar, right? Sometimes my mama is laughing when she comes home from work. Sometimes she's so tired that she falls asleep while I count the money out into the piles. Some days she has a lot of tips, and some days she only has a little. Then she looks worried. But each evening, every single shiny coin goes into that jar. That's pretty crazy. Do you guys think they're going to be able to fill up that jar? I don't know. All right. When we sit in the kitchen and count the tips, usually Grandma sits with us too. While we count, she likes to hum. Often she has money in her old leather wallet for us. When she gets a good bargain on tomatoes or bananas or something she buys, she puts by the savings and they go into the jar. When we can't get another... Wait, before we keep going, what do you guys think they're saving up for? They're putting all this money into the jar. Do you guys have any guesses? Okay, cool. All right, when we can't get another single coin into the jar, we are going to take out all the money and go buy a chair. A chair? How many of you guys thought they were going to buy a chair? Yeah, I didn't either. Okay. Yes, a chair. A wonderful, beautiful, fat, soft armchair. We will get one covered in velvet with roses all over it. we are going to get the best chair in the whole world. That sounds pretty cool. That is because our old chairs burned up. There was a big fire in our other house. All of our chairs burned. So did our sofa, and so did everything else. That wasn't such a long time ago. My mother and I were coming home from buying new shoes. I had new sandals and she had new pumps. We were walking to her house from the bus, and we were looking at everyone's tulips. She was saying she liked the red tulips, and I was saying that I liked the yellow ones. And then we came to our block. Right outside our house stood 2 big fire engines. I could see lots of smoke. Tall orange flames came out of the roof. All the neighbors stood in a bunch across the street. Mama grabbed my hand and we ran. My Uncle Sandy saw us and ran to us. Mama yelled, "Where's Mother?" I yelled, "Where's my grandma?" My Aunt Ida waved and shouted, "She's here, she's here. She's okay, don't worry." Grandma was all right. Our cat was safe too, though it took a while to find her, but everything else in our house was spoiled. How would you guys feel if everything in your house got ruined? That's pretty crazy, huh? Oh, I'm glad that they're saving up for a chair, aren't you guys? It's pretty cool of them. All right, let's keep going. What was left of the house was turned to charcoal and ashes. We went to stay with my mother's sister, Aunt Ida, and Uncle Sandy. Then we were able to move into the apartment downstairs. We painted the walls yellow. The floors were all shiny, but the rooms were very empty. The first day we moved in, the neighbors brought pizza and cake and ice cream, and they brought a lot of other things too. The family across the street brought a table and 3 kitchen chairs. The very old man next door gave us a bed from when his children were little. My other grandpa brought us a beautiful rug. My mother's other sister, Sally, had made us red and white curtains. Mama's boss, Josephine, brought pots and pans, silverware, and dishes. My cousin brought me her own stuffed bear. Everyone clapped when my grandma made a speech. "You are all the kindest people," she said, "and we thank you very, very much. It's lucky we're young and can start all over." That is so awesome. How would you guys feel if all those people brought that stuff? What's something that you guys could bring to someone if all their stuff was ruined? What would be one thing that you guys would bring to someone? Yeah, that's really cool. Good stuff. All right, that was last year, but we still have no sofa and no big chairs. When Mama comes home, her feet hurt. "There's no good place for me to take a load off my feet," she says. When Grandma wants to sit back and hum and cut potatoes, she has to get as comfortable as she can on a hard kitchen chair. So that is how come Mama brought home the biggest jar she could find at the diner, and all the coins started to go into the jar. Now the jar is too heavy for me to lift down. Uncle Sandy gave me a quarter. He had to boost me up so I could put it in. After supper, Mama and Grandma and I stood in front of the jar. "Well, I never would have believed it, but I guess it's full," Mama said. "Can you believe it? Their jar, that big jar, is all full." My mother brought home little paper wrappers for the nickels and dimes and the quarters. I counted them all and wrapped them all up. On my Mother's Day off, we took all the coins to the bank. The bank exchanged them for $10 bills. Then we took the bus downtown to shop for our chair. Do you guys think they're going to find the chair that they want? I think so too. We shopped through 4 furniture stores. We tried out big chairs and smaller ones, high chairs and low ones, soft chairs and harder ones. Grandma said she felt like Goldilocks and the 3 bears trying out all the chairs. Finally, we found the chair that we were all dreaming of, and the money in the jar was enough to pay for it. We called Aunt Ida and Uncle Sandy. They came right down in their pickup truck to drive the chair home for us. They knew we couldn't wait for it to be delivered. I tried out the chair in the back of the truck. Mama wouldn't let me sit there while we drove, but they let me sit in it while we carried it up to the door. We set the chair right beside the window with the red and white curtains. Grandma and Mama and I all sat in it while Aunt Ida took our picture. Now Grandma sits in it and talks with people going by in the daytime. Mama sits down and watches the news on TV when she comes home from her job. After supper, I sit with her and she can reach right up and turn out the light if I fall asleep in her lap. The end. That is a pretty cool story, huh, guys? So they saved up all of that money and filled up a jar, I don't know, probably 3 times the size of our jar. That's pretty crazy. Now, if you guys can all go back to your seats quietly, thank you so much. And I have a worksheet for us to do. Now, write your name, write the date, and I want you guys to write or to draw a picture inside the jar, something that you guys would save up for, okay? Something like, it could be a chair, like in our story, it could be a different kind of chair, or maybe it could be, I don't know, like a puppy. I know I have always wanted a puppy, that would be really cool. Or it could be even just something small, like maybe a sketchbook or something. And then in these 3 coins at the bottom, I want you to write 3 things that you could do to save up for it, okay? And once you're done, I want you to turn to the person next to you, and then you guys are gonna talk about your thing that you saved up for, and then your 3 things that you could do, and then we're all gonna talk about it as a class and hear everybody's ideas, okay? Does that sound good? Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. I can't wait to see what you come up with.